Tram-One is a modern view framework for vanilla JavaScript. It's inspired by frameworks like React, Svelte, and Chew. It has true reactive updates, it has JSX-like syntax, and it has hooks. All of this in a really tiny API and a small package size. And it can also run in vanilla JavaScript. So that vanilla JavaScript really means that if you're using just a basic HTML page with a script tag, or if you're building, let's say, a Chrome extension, you don't have to worry about working with special build tooling. Everything just is written in JavaScript. If you have those build tools, that'll work great, and it'll be just like any other framework, but you don't need them. So what does Tram-One actually look like? Well, everything in Tram-One is either going to be a function for a component or a function for a hook. So in here we have the most basic use case. We have just some DOM with an h1 tag. The cool part here is that we're just using a template tag function that has a template literal inside of it. If you wanted to include variables, you do that just like you would with any other template syntax. We make the variable, and then we just do $ curly brace, and then that'll show up in our UI. You can use these variables as part of the DOM like we do here, or as part of an attribute. If you have functions, you can even bind onto click handlers or change handlers or stuff like that. So if we wanted to show an alert when somebody clicks on this header, it's as simple as just saying onClick equals $curly and then that function. So now when I click on this, it says try Tram-One. If we want to compose an app with multiple components, that's possible too. So we import our JavaScript file. Let's say there's an adjacent task. In the register HTML function, which is how we build our template, our HTML function, we just give it a key value pair, the key being the tag that we want to use in the HTML syntax, and then the value is going to be the actual function that'll run. So then we just include it in our DOM, and then it just shows up in our UI. If we want something more dynamic and we want to manage state or effects, we can use hooks. So these hooks will look very similar to React, but they'll update actually more similarly to Svelte. So we include the useStore hook, and in this case, useStore always takes in an object or an array. In this case, the object just has some count. We'll make a function to increment the count, and we don't need to do a set call or anything like that. We're just mutating the property. And then we'll make a button that when we click on it, increments this count. Now when I click on this, it just increments. The way that this works under the hood is that these store objects aren't really objects, they're actually proxies, and the components and effects that observe them will know to update whenever those values change. It's also really performant because the components are only observing properties that update. So if you have a giant to-do list and you only change one item, only that component will update. It doesn't re-render the entire app. Again, the API is really, really small, but for Tram-One, the API is really complete, and it includes everything that you need for routing, for state management, for effects, even global state management, which has the same interface as useStore rather than something more complicated like context. I'd love for you guys to check it out. There's a website which has all the details, and there's even a Discord. So if you have any questions or just want to hang out, feel free to join, and I'll see you guys there.